Hey guys, Quissy here. I just want to apologize in advance. I meant to release this video yesterday, but I had so many issues with Premiere Pro, that's the program that I use to edit. I've had to import all these files onto my laptop and try to recover whatever files I can. There was a directory that had gotten corrupted containing assets, blah blah blah. I'm sure you guys don't care, but just wanted to let you know. I apologize if some of the clips are a little scuffed in this video. I wanted to get this out as soon as possible, and I'm really stubborn, so I didn't want to just trash the project because I had worked so many hours on it previously. In the midst of my frustration editing this video, I learned that the classic beta had returned until Friday for levels 40 to 45, so I'm really excited about that, and I will be playing the beta. So I hope you guys can tune in on Twitch. I'll be live streaming at Quissy TV. Alright, here's the start of the video. Hey everyone, now that we've completed the final stress test, there's a lot to discuss. In this video, I'm going to cover my overall thoughts, having completed a couple of 1 to 15 leveling runs, as well as cover some other things that are going on in the classic community, such as this server drama, clarifications on bugs, changes, and all that other stuff. So to start off, as expected, I had a great time playing the stress test. As soon as the servers popped up, we made our characters and logged right in. Things were pretty laggy in the beginning. It took us a while to read and accept the quests, any action was delayed by 10 to 20 seconds, and it was almost impossible to do anything. Within about 10 minutes or so, Omar snapped his fingers and it seemed like everything was greatly improved. By the time we were killing Defias in the vineyard behind Northshire Abbey, we noticed that the lag and the delays were gone. What also surprised us was the quick respawn rate. In previous stress tests, and also during the WoW Classic Beta, in crowded areas, you had to fight hard to tag a newly respawned mob. But here, it was pretty fluid and not bad at all to find mobs to kill. This was especially prevalent in the early starting zones, which I 100% agree with, as it helps the flow and huge influx of new players move on from those first areas and help them pour out into larger areas of the world to spread out a bit. Even in Goldshire, like I had previously stated that I wanted to avoid the Fargo Deep Mine, located to the south, just because it's usually a super crowded and impossible to complete area. Much to our surprise, the spawn rate inside the mine was really quick. So instead of feeling like we were just stuck there, it felt like we were still moving forward and progressing. By the time we hit level 7, we moved on to the East Vale logging camp, and didn't see too many other players there at all. Everything felt really smooth from there on out. We ended up dinging level 15 in Darkshore, as planned, and logged out soon thereafter. My played time for level 15, duo leveling with Pasta, was 8 hours, but then the next day I did a solo run, 1 to 15, as a paladin, and got there in 6.5 hours. So given the circumstances and a few notes that I took, I'm confident that we could cut that time down on launch day, if this indeed was an accurate representation of the respawn rates and everything like that. So what is the deal with the dynamic respawns? Well, we actually got some clarification straight from a WoW developer, Pazarax, who posted on the forums in a blue post, and summarizing what he said, basically said in the original 1.12 data, different spawn regions have different thresholds at which automatic respawning is triggered. In past stress tests, there were bugs that were causing it to ignore those population thresholds. As you level up throughout the later zones, the respawn thresholds aren't as aggressive, as you see less people and there's less competition. So they have basically confirmed and verified that they've correctly reproduced the 1.12 spawn rates and thresholds throughout the game now. So what we are experiencing in the stress test is accurate. And just to reiterate, the spawn rates that you'll see in Northshire, as he stated, will be a little bit different than where you see them in some place like Ungoro Crater, just because of the sheer masses of people. So really awesome that Pazarax took the time to clarify this information. I think it's huge, and it's definitely a game changer for launch day for me, because a lot of the areas that we were planning to quest in, we had considered skipping, but now we may actually have a chance to complete some of the quests in these really, really packed areas, just because the respawn rate is a lot quicker. So to summarize, the way the flow of the respawn felt was actually authentic to the vanilla dynamic respawns. I'm actually really happy to hear about this, because it allows for a more fluid way to progress through these early levels that could be extremely difficult when there's a massive amount of players in those starting zones. So quickly, those are my thoughts on the stress test. Like I said, the big thing that stood out for me were those dynamic respawns. A couple of other things about the UI change that I want to point out. One thing for me was Adam of DBM pointed out that there was no longer a death recap. The release spirit button is only there now. In the past, we had seen a death recap, but it looks like that was taken out. Another thing that we saw was that your friends on BNet now appear to be playing WoW Classic when you look at the list of games playing, which is kind of just a cool update that I noticed. Another thing I saw was the Communities tab is available, which was absent from the Classic WoW beta. I know these things aren't major and monumental, but those were just some things that came to mind right off the top of my head that I did notice were different compared when comparing the stress test to the beta or beta stress test. Did any of you guys notice any changes too? I was pretty focused on leveling, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to those small details. So overall, my final thoughts on the stress test, I was really happy that they were able to extend it throughout the weekend. I think that made a lot of other people happy too. Some people may not have had the opportunity to play for the original 24, 36 hours that they had planned, and I think it really was a great opportunity for many to create characters, test it out, and kind of get acquainted again with that classic world. One thing that I want to address is a lot of people come into my stream chat and they say, I don't know what class to play. My friends are telling me to play this, but I want to play this. I don't really know what to do. The only thing I could say about that is, unless you're striving to be in a really high-end raiding guild, you know, like server first, very competitive, all that stuff, play whatever character you want. At the end of the day, we've been waiting for Classic launch for how many years? Now that it's finally within 2 weeks away, I think now, more so than ever, you should embrace what Classic WoW means to you. For me, it's a lot about community and connecting with old and new friends and just kind of sharing a common interest of our love for this game and this world and this version of World of Warcraft. We're only going to get a Classic launch day once. After that, you can create as many characters as you'd like, but in my opinion, I think you should create whatever character is most fun for you or what you will most resonate with. Don't let people tell you that you have to make a dwarf priest or that you have to make a gnome mage. Yeah, do they have the best racials for raiding and PvE and even PvP for that matter? Sure. But if you don't care about things like that, just play whatever class you want. It really doesn't matter. Have fun with it. Embrace the launch. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited, and I'm finally glad that the servers were chosen, and hopefully everybody could move on now and just focus on launch day, focus on leveling, focus on their character, and all that stuff. So you go out there and be the best Night Elf priest you could be. And finally, on the topic of character creation, yesterday was finally the day where players could choose their desired realm for Classic WoW and create up to 3 characters. After much debate and back and forth, it was decided that Fairlina will be the designated streamer mega server. Fairlina is a PvP Eastern Time Zone realm, which is perfect for me because I'm on the East Coast already. I know there was a lot of tension surrounding this, but after watching a lot of streams last night after this went on, it looks like most people did get their desired names. I think a lot of people were expecting to snipe names maliciously, but it looks like the community really rallied and assisted in top streamers actually getting their names, which is really awesome. I wasn't too worried about getting my name. I mean, I still consider myself a smaller streamer, and sure enough, I did get my name with ease. I did receive a lot of DMs, tweets, and everything asking, so just to officially confirm here on YouTube, I did make my character Quissy, a human paladin, on Fairlina. I also made a dwarf priest named Quiss, which I may or may not change at some point. We'll see, but for now, I'm happy with my choices. For those of you who are wondering, Pasta did get her desired names as well on Fairlina, so we're all set and ready to go. I really hope that both sides of the community are happy with how the realm decisions turned out. Looks like Herod will be a popular non-streamer server that many are hoping will replicate the authenticity of a vanilla launch without the immersion-breaking elements of things like Twitch chat spam and armies of spurgs running around trying to get invited to the Asmin lair. Either way, I'm super excited that I'll be on a high-pop server. There'll be plenty of events, a strong sense of community, a nice economy, and a competitive PvP nature of the realm. I've played every expansion of this game, and many times have been part of dying guilds or dying servers, and it really, really sucks. So I'm hoping that Fairlina will thrive as a community, and I wish everyone else the best on their own respective chosen servers. And finally, as a little fun thing to close out the video, I wanted to share a little bit about who Fairlina is for those of you who don't know or would just like a refresher. Grand Widow Fairlina is the second boss in the Arachnid Quarter of Nax Ramus. Commander Eligor Dawnbringer was quoted to say about her, "The Grand Widow Fairlina, a botanist in life, breeder and caretaker of arachnids in death. She oversees the Spider Wing, developing the most potent of poisons for the Lich King." She, along with the original 40-man Naxxramas raid, was released in patch 1.11 in Vanilla WoW. We, of course, won't get to see Naxxramas until the final phase, Phase 6 of Classic WoW, along with the Scourge invasion. Fairlina is accompanied by worshippers and followers, and managing them during the fight is a huge component of defeating her. But we'll save boss strategies for another time. If you want to visit Fairlina before Classic comes out, you could always fly to Naxxramas and Dragonblight Zone of Northrend, in Retail WoW, zone into Nax, head on into the Arachnid Quarter, and check her out. She's also a boss in Hearthstone too, as they released a really fun Curse of Naxxramas expansion a few years back. So did any of you guys actually raid Naxxramas back in Vanilla WoW? I personally never had the opportunity to. I was never really in a guild that had the ability to get to that level, unfortunately. However, when Wrath of the Lich King came out, I did have a chance to complete Nax many times. I even got the Immortal title, which I made a video about. I'll link that at the end of this video if you guys are interested in hearing the story behind how I got my Immortal title, but basically you had to do a full 25-man heroic Naxxramas run without anybody in your group dying. So that's a tiny bit of info about Fairlina, and with that I will wrap this video up.